Oh hey guys, let's learn a little bit about hotkeys. I've been getting some questions from people about, hey, what was that key that you pushed to do the thing, and how do I do this other thing? Well, I made this sheet so that it should answer most of those questions. This is most every hotkey that I use in these tutorials, or that I will use in the future. So we've got the tools panel on the left here, and then we've got the function keys at the top, and then a bunch of other handy ones here. To get a hold of this, go to my website and then click on the tutorials link. The layout of my site may change over the years, but I should always have a tutorials subpage somewhere. I'll link it in the description, so don't worry about it. And then you just come down here and you right click on the image, save image as, save that thing and print it out. My recommendation is that you use some scissors, cut it up so that this is like its own little panel, and then you can tape it over on the left side of your monitor, cut this out, tape it on top, and if you're feeling really messy with your workspace, you can cut this out and paste it over on the right side. And then everyone will come by and say, what are all those things taped to your monitor? And you'll be able to tell a fun story about tutorials and learning Flash. Alright, so to set up the tools like I've got over here, you'll notice that in this image that I showed for the hotkeys, these are not laid out the same as they are by default. There's some differences. So to set that up, first off, I'll refer you to tutorial number 1, where I briefly go over how to do it. There's also a lot of other great stuff in tutorial number 1, if you haven't watched it, about setting up hotkeys and kind of what these do. So if you're feeling lost, watch that one first, and if you're still feeling lost, leave a comment. Okay, so I go to Edit, Customize Tools Panel. Now, I already changed some of these, but I've left this guy to be the default, so I can kind of show you how it works. So if I come over here, these two options, Rotation Tool, which is W as a hotkey, and Translation Tool, which is G, are both set to this tool, which means it has that little arrow by it in the lower part of the icon. So if I click and hold, I can select those two options. I've got the rectangle tool set up the same and the oval tool set up the same. So to change that, I'm going to have to click on it here and then remove these over here. Now, if you click OK when there's nothing in this box, what it will do is it will permanently delete that slot and it'll shift everything else up into its place. That is not what you want to do. So don't hit OK when there's nothing in the current selection. Otherwise you have to restore default to get that slot back. Anyway, so which was the tool that I had there? Oh yes, the Gradient Transform tool. If I click Add, now the Gradient Transform is there. And now I can click on this guy, the Free Transform, and I no longer need the Gradient Transform as a sub-selection of it, so I can remove it. It just keeps the tools panel nice and clean, and that's how I like stuff. So one of the tools that I get questions about is the stage properties. So with nothing selected and no tool selected, you can come over here to this guy here, Edit Document Properties, or you can hit Control J. I like to set my stage to 512 by 512 with a black background and 30 frames per second. Make that the default. We'll be using this in all the future lessons because it's really handy to use for game development. So N for line tool, and then make it a color that you can see against the black background. And then I can align that guy center and center, so center in the middle and center top to bottom. Control C, Control Shift V to paste in place. Control 4 to flip horizontal. Double click on it again. Q for the transform controls, so if I come over here I can rotate it. Hold Shift to snap if snapping is turned on. Oh shoot. Let's see, Control C, Control Shift V, and then rotate it. Okay, there it worked. So it pasted one in place and then I could rotate it. I can double click again, Control C, Control Shift V, and I can come over here to transform, rotate it 22.5 degrees, which is half of 45 degrees. And I've got this guy. And then on another layer, I can use O for oval tool. Hold shift so that it scales evenly. Select the middle and delete it. Click on that guy, center and center. Control C, Control Shift V, and you get the idea. So this is a handy way to create a guide template. And then I can select that dude. I can do Control G. To select all of them at once, you can just simply click down here on the layer, Control G. To select all of those at once, I click on layer 1, Control G. You can also click on the frame out here. If you click on the layer name, it'll highlight all the frames. If you click on the frame, it's just the one frame. And then I can select everybody at once and hit F8 and make a graphic symbol. And then if I want, I can go to color effect and kind of alpha it out so it's nice and faded. That's how I did those templates in the previous tutorial that you may have been curious about. So anyway, hope you learned something. That's the tutorial on hotkeys. Have a good one.